guys, welcome to today's video, which I know is way different than what we usually do on this channel, but your mother is still supporting the WGA and SAG within their strike and fighting basically towards a livable wage. Now, not gonna lie, I kind of feel like I'm the only channel who is left doing this. But I'm still gonna do it. So that includes finding content that's a little different than usual while I get things approved, set up, situated. And you know what? There is something that I love watching here on youtube.com. Every Saturday night or Sunday morning, I watch Smosh Pit's Reddit stories, which if you haven't watched it, definitely recommend. It's so fun to just hear the bullshit that they find online and sit there and talk about it. It feels like you're kikiing with your friends. And you know, it really inspired me and I was like, why not do it on this channel, but movie themed? I did find a couple stories. I haven't read them. I just picked them off of the title alone. And I thought, you know what? Let's sit here bestie to bestie and just have a good little time. And if you guys like it, I'm more than willing to do more videos like this. Maybe next time you guys can send me stories that you find, right? Like that could be really fun. I'm ready to have a little kiki. Let's get started. First story, I'm actually really excited for this. Okay, am I the asshole for shutting off the movie halfway through and making my boyfriend feel bad? What? Okay. My boyfriend, Wyatt, and I always watch movies together every time we have off days that end up on the same day. And we go back and forth on who picks the movie. But I've noticed he's usually talking through my movie choices, either pointing out plot holes or just talking down about the movie in one way or another. I never act this way when it's his turn to pick the movie, even if I don't care for it. Like the last movie he chose, The Fountain. I don't think I've seen that one. I was so confused until halfway through and then bored the rest of the film. But I didn't talk during the movie or constantly dump on it either. And even at the end when he asked what I thought, I said it was alright, even though I thought the movie wasn't good. But he seemed really fond of it, so I didn't want to hurt his feelings. But he doesn't seem to have that mindset when it comes to him watching my picks. I've told him to shush and to just watch the movies, but he just sighs loudly and says they're boring. If I tell him to stop, he gets all huffy and goes totally silent and usually takes his phone out to play a game or scroll the internet, totally ignoring me and the movie. It really hurts my feelings. Girl, same. And yesterday was my turn to choose again, and I picked a good movie that really hit me hard as a kid. I bawled when I first watched it and still tear up to this day. And I told him this movie was special to me, but he barely got 10 minutes into it before he started up saying it was boring and childish. It is a kid's movie, but that doesn't make it boring. Agreed. I was getting upset, and before the big part of the movie even got close, I just couldn't take it anymore. I felt like him acting this way during a super important part would ruin the movie for me, maybe forever, so I just got up and turned it off. He asked what I was doing and I told him I didn't want to have the movie ruined for me, so it was better if I just turned it off. He said I was being a baby and turn it back on. I refused and just told him to pick something to watch instead. Then I sat on the couch. He got mad and said if I was gonna be dramatic like this, then he didn't want to watch anything with me, and got up and went to his room and slammed the door. This happened the other day and he's been giving me the cold shoulder, and when I asked why, he said he wants an apology for making him feel like dirt. Should I apologize? Did I really make a huge deal out of just a movie? Am I the asshole? Okay, so there's some edits to the story. I'm not gonna look at them. I'm gonna give my first initial thoughts. First initial thoughts is this is a red flag. I'm not sitting here trying to be dramatic, but I feel like when someone treats such a simple topic as a movie like that and like they're above you, it's usually an indicator for how they are treating you in the relationship. Bitch. Mika, what are you doing down there? So it kind of sounds like in a way, maybe he just doesn't respect her. Especially the kids thing. I've talked about it before and I'm gonna say it until my last dying breath. I don't care if it's a kid's movie. I don't care if it's an animation. I will never sit here and say that it's childish or it's not good entertainment or it's not like a good film or that it's less than of a live action, because you can do so much with animation. I think the Spider-Verse movies are a really good example of animation that really can speak volumes, and when it plays into that field and it knows what it is and just really embraces it, it's a good ass movie. Granted, I still haven't seen the new one because I want to wait and do it with you guys, but the second the strikes are over, that is what we are watching. That is numero uno on my list. And then the whole thing of like, he's giving me the cold shoulder, and when I asked why, he said he wants an apology for making him feel like dirt. My dude, just say you're insecure and go. Like, what? I'm sorry I was an asshole to you, so you should apologize to me because you reacted in a fair manner. I just don't like this dude. I really don't. Okay, so first edit. I've gotten a lot of comments and IMs asking what the movie I chose was. It was The Bridge to Terabithia. It's not the best movie ever, but it was the first kids movie I watched when I was young that really moved me and made me cry. Queen, you're so valid. We covered this movie on this channel probably a couple months ago. I don't know, time doesn't exist. I was going for a more like innocent schoolyard kind of vibe, but I feel like I'm giving Mommy Milker right now. So we're gonna ignore that. Okay, cool.
You can just do one side, Madison.
I'll do two.
Madison, oh my God. Is your nose brown? Because I think you're so far up her ass, you're in her colon. But I saw so many comments on that video basically illustrating what this person is saying. It is one of those movies when you watch as a kid that you're just like, oh my God, life is unfair. Life sucks. Because what do you mean? I'm gonna spoil it, because if you haven't seen it at this point, that's on you, babe. What do you mean she dies? She was his only friend. She was the light of his life. They were gonna like probably become high school sweethearts, and she dies on a little fucking rope in a creek. Jail. Okay, next update. Oh my God, it is so long. Okay. I ended up having to call my parents, who called the cops on Wyatt. I read all the advice from everyone saying he wasn't respecting my interest or me as a person. And it got me thinking, and stuff I ignored or overlooked before started popping out to me. Stuff that didn't seem fair to me that I just put up with because I loved him. Usually that's what happens. So many people told me to just break up with him and I could do better. But I was in love and he was my first serious boyfriend, and I really just wanted to work things out and get through this thing with him. So I tried to sit down and have a serious talk with him, just hoping he'd listen this time. I told him how he acted made me feel, and his behavior during my movie choices ruined the experience for me. And I told him I never act that way during his movies because I know he likes them and I respect him and don't want to be mean or belittle his interests, even if they don't interest me. And then he told me I was being dramatic again and they were just stupid movies, and he tried excusing his behavior by saying my movie choices suck anyway. This dude...
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I was just so tired by this point and wanted some space and quiet to think about where we go from here. So I started to ask him to go back to his apartment for the night, but he interrupted me by yelling how since I couldn't have my way, I was kicking him out. It really scared me because he never screamed at me before. Even when he'd raise his voice during arguments, he never full on screamed at me. I tried to get him to calm down, but he started calling me a bunch of nasty stuff and even backed me up against a wall and grabbed my bicep hard enough to bruise that I saw later. I panicked and ran to the bathroom and locked it behind me. Jail! Execution! He banged on the door telling me to come out, and I was crying and couldn't think of anything else to do but call my parents. Me. Mom answered, and she could hear him screaming and the banging in the background. Her and Dad were freaked out, and Dad called the cops. Long story short, the cops and my folks showed up, and Wyatt was removed from my apartment, and my parents told him to not come back or we get a restraining order. It's almost 10:30 p.m. right now, and I've locked my apartment up and I'm currently staying with my mom and dad for a while. Thanks for the advice, everyone, but Wyatt and I are pretty much over, and I think I'm done with this account and I'll be logging off now. Oh my God. I don't even know what to say. That's terrifying over a movie thing. And my thing is like, oh, I just wanted to make it work. I ignored it. I think you should just see people for what they are, and if they're showing you something, you gotta acknowledge it. And especially it being like, oh, it's my first serious boyfriend. Like, girl, don't put up with that. Like, you're still young. Even if you're not young, that's the thing. People are always like, oh, you're young, like you'll have time to find someone else. I don't care if you're 75 in the retirement home. Like, start popping on some dicks. I don't care. Go find someone that's gonna make you happy for the rest of your life. Whether it's 5 minutes or 50 years, you deserve to be happy. Am I the asshole for forcing my friends to watch my favorite movie despite all of them hating it? Me. I will say though, it's not, maybe I'm in a different situation, because it's not like I'm showing someone that they know for sure that they hate. If it's something they haven't seen and they're like, no, I'm not gonna like it, I'm like, just try it. Just humor me. Just try it. It's like, it's really fun. It's really fun. And then the entire time they're watching it, they're like this. And I'm in the corner like this. This part's really funny coming up. You'll love it. Oh, they're not laughing. Okay. They just don't get it. We recently all came together as a friendship group for a movie night. It was my turn to choose the movie. Okay, let me pause right there. How do y'all find friends and like people like this in your life to like watch movies and TV with you all the time? I like beg my family. I'm like, let's watch this movie. Let's do this. Well, then again, they're not movie people, so I should expect that. I need to find people who aren't like, what's the word? Cinephiles. Have y'all seen that? Definitely a choice. But I'm not in that range where I'm also not where I just don't care about movies. I'm somewhere in the middle. You know, I need to find my people. I think you guys are my people, but we can't do this in real life. I don't think I can fit all of you in my apartment. Probably a fire hazard. We recently all came together as a friendship group for a movie night. It was my turn to choose the movie, and I really wanted to watch my favorite movie. Muppets Most Wanted sing-along version. Okay, but when I make people watch Shrek 2, the sing-along version, I'm in the same boat. Let me calm myself down. But my whole friend group hates it because I choose it every time. I clicked on the movie and my friends groaned and left the room saying, I ruined the night. I didn't care if they watched it with me, but I didn't want them to have fun without me, so I forced them to watch it by guilt tripping them. I recently lost my cousin-in-law, so I could use that against them. Oh, honey, no, you see, you lost me. You had me and now you lost me. I didn't even really want to watch the movie. I just knew I could force them to watch it and enjoy it. I understand why people will instantly think I'm the asshole in reading this, but you must understand. No, babe, there's nothing to understand. That they didn't even say anything like, let's try watching something else, or how about we play a game instead? They just went straight to leaving and cussing me out. We started watching it, and 4 minutes in, we were midway through my favorite song, We're Doing a Sequel, when they started to storm out one by one. This was 1 month ago. I haven't heard from them since. I have tried contacting, but they always ignore me. I can see on their social media profiles that they continue to have movie nights without me. The worst part, they watched Muppets Most Wanted yesterday and sent me a photo to annoy me. Am I the asshole? You're a terrible person. Have fun looking up when you go. See, at first it was kind of like funny, haha, kiki, like I'm gonna annoy my friends because I sometimes do that. This sounds terrible, but I don't like annoy them to the point where I know it's annoying them. It's more so like if we're in line, like say we're at Disneyland and we're in line, I'm gonna sit there and poke you because it's like I just nah. But if I know sitting you down and watching this 2-hour movie that you just absolutely hate and you have said it multiple times before, and then I use the excuse of a death of a relative to make you watch it, that's so low. That's crazy. And then on top of it, to have the nerve to be like, am I really in the wrong? Let me go on Reddit and ask a bunch of strangers. The audacity to be that delusional. I wish to be that delusional in life. Honestly, it probably would be healthy for me if I got out of my head that much. The fact that they're like, am I really in the wrong? Girl, you're not in the right. You're not in the top. You're not in the bottom. You're not in the left. You're in the wrong. Point blank in the period.
Court dismissed! Bring in the dancing lobsters!
Am I the asshole for guessing a movie plot correctly at the cinema? Ooh, this is where I could get a little dicey. Are you guessing the plot and then announcing it to the whole theater? I've never made one of these posts before, but the situation has baffled me and has got me second guessing myself, so I'm in need of some guidance. Spoiler alert, this contains spoilers for the movie Morbius. See, that's where your first mistake was. Did anyone actually go in theaters to watch Morbius? You thought, I have 2 hours to spend on this beautiful Sunday afternoon, I'm gonna go see Morbius? That doesn't sound right. But what was right was them putting it back in theaters so that it could bomb a second time. That was hilarious. That was so funny. Honestly, how do we nominate that situation for best comedy at the Oscars? Because it should win. So myself, 20-year-old female, and my boyfriend, 20-year-old male, went to the cinema to see Morbius 2 nights ago. So this is like an old post. Part of what I enjoy about watching things is guessing what's going to happen, as I honestly like being wrong when there's a really good twist in a show movie. Can't relate. I like being right. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know I will put out every theory into the universe so one of them is right and grab onto it and be like, I knew it. See, I told you. I know movies. My boyfriend knows this as we have watched countless movies, TV shows together. He has shown dislike for the fact that I am usually able to guess correctly, but this is only when the plot or the twist is fairly predictable. I suggested we go see Morbius as we had the night free, and I saw it getting made fun of online, and I wanted to see if Jared Leto's acting was really that bad. Fair, valid. So we go to the cinema, and about 15 minutes in, I said, what's the odds the best friend forces Morbius to give him the cute and it turns him evil? I haven't seen Morbius, so I don't know what any of that just meant. What are the odds the best friend forces Morbius to give him the cute and it turns him evil? What in the hell goes on in this movie? How do you give someone the cute? Sounds like you're giving someone an STD. My boyfriend gets visibly annoyed at this point and tells me if that is what happens later in the movie, he is going to fall out with me. Over Morbius? I mean, I get it. Like, you're at a point where you're done, but Morbius? That's the straw that broke the camel's back? He's never reacted to this level before, so I thought he was exaggerating as a joke. No, I was wrong. So I'm half right about the best friend being evil, and so he keeps his word and falls out with me. I was meant to be staying at his place that night, but instead we drove home in silence and he dropped me straight home. Since then, he has not texted or contacted me at all. He has told me before I don't seem to read people's emotions, so I'm not sure whether I'm just being insensitive to not knowing why he's acting like this. I do the guessing thing with all my friends as we find it a really fun part of watching a movie, so I don't understand why he is just so angry at me. So my thing is, because you say, where was it? Talking about like, oh, I do this with my friends, we don't mind doing it. But that's because that precedent is set. You know that they don't mind it. That is something that you guys enjoy doing. That is something that you guys both can do together. But if I'm with someone, because don't get me wrong, you've seen on this channel, I sit here and I talk, I'll make jokes, whatever. But if I'm with someone and I know they don't like a viewing experience like that, I'm not gonna do that. I might be sitting here in my head making these jokes or saying these things, but I'm not gonna say it out loud if I know it's gonna disrupt their experience. When they've told me multiple times, I don't really like when you do that. Even if he didn't flat out was like, Georgina, of all the names to pick, Georgina, okay. When you sit here and make your stupid ass little jokes, it rubs me the wrong way and I want to take my head and bash it into a freeway. Don't ever do that again. Even if he didn't say that, you know, I don't know. I think it just goes back to like movie watching etiquette or TV watching etiquette. You kind of have to read the room. And then you could say, you know, with people who are on the spectrum, that is something that is hard to do. So maybe this person needs to have like that indication. But it sounds like this person had that indication of like, oh yeah, they don't like when I do it. And when they said if I spoil it, they're leaving, I took it as a joke. Right? It didn't come like a surprise to them. They weren't sitting there like, what? I have no idea why he's acting this way. So yeah, you're the asshole. Before we continue on with these crazy stories, I do want to take a second to thank the sponsor of this video, Rocket Money. Now, me personally, I've gone through a lot of big changes lately, and a lot of the times that comes with the financial responsibility as well. I've moved out, I bought a car, I have a kitten now. So with all these changes, these adjustments, it can be hard sometimes to take care of your financial needs and make sure you're making the most responsible decision, which is where Rocket Money comes and saves the day, because Rocket Money is an all-in-one personal finance platform that helps you save more and spend less. Through the platform, you can monitor your credit score, which is really great if you're trying to, you know, buy a house or even buy a car. Rocket Money can alert you of important changes that impact your credit score and offers you insights on ways to improve it. You can also set up budgets based on different categories. So, you know, finances, maybe entertainment, maybe shopping. And here's the thing, with your little tool now, you have someone to hold you accountable. It's not gonna be this like, oh, I'm not gonna spend money on Postmates anymore, and then you're buying dinner that night. And no, I'm not talking from personal experience whatsoever. Plus, my favorite thing is canceling unwanted subscriptions. I cannot tell you how many times I don't even know what I'm spending money on. It sounds so sad. But the great thing about Rocket Money is that they will safely and securely show you reoccurring charges that are happening to your account. And then from there, you can figure out, you know what, maybe I don't use this as much. Let's cancel it. And you can do it all just within a tap. This is something that is very interesting to you. Don't worry, I'm gonna hook you up, as I usually do. Download Rocket Money and unlock more features with premium. Go to rocketmoney.com/ash or click the link in my description. Huge thank you again to Rocket Money for sponsoring this video. And without further ado, let's get back into the stories because girl, they get juicy, they get crazy. Am I the asshole for breaking up with my boyfriend over the Barbie movie? Juicy! Here's my take on it. I think everyone has the right to their own opinion about cinema and movies, TV shows, whatever. But if you're watching that movie and you come out just the biggest dick and just like, that was so like anti-men, men this, men that, blah, 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 blah. I'm breaking up with you because obviously you have the comprehension skills of a kindergartner. Maybe even less of a slug. Because I think a kindergartner could watch that and be like, yeah, Barbie and Ken should be equal. One is not better than the other. But like women have their own struggles and it's okay to realize that. Like, okay, Ben Shapiro, calm down. Am I, 23 female, the asshole for breaking up with my boyfriend, 23 male, over the Barbie movie? I literally don't know what to do right now and I feel so helpless turning to Reddit for advice validation. Honestly, valid. That's when you know you hit rock bottom, when you're asking strangers for advice. But 3 days ago, my boyfriend and I went to go see the Barbie movie. I've been really excited as I'm a huge Greta Gerwig fan. Valid! And my boyfriend liked Ryan Reynolds. I think she meant Ryan Gosling. Other than him being in the movie, my boyfriend didn't know anything else about it. I, on the other hand, was aware of its feminist themes and was secretly hoping my boyfriend would get the message. That just told me everything right there. Over the duration of the movie, I could tell he was getting more and more uncomfortable, upset, and I was getting really sad, both from the movie and his reaction. And I knew he would end up having a conversation about it afterwards. Great. He didn't talk to me until we got in the car. He then told me that he was really offended by the movie and said that it was the kind of thing I should have watched with my girlfriends and not him. I understood where he was coming from. I don't. Can you explain it to me? I understood where he was coming from, but I'm not going to even start explaining why I disagreed. We have been having problems with his weird comments about women, the LGBTQ community, and other stuff. Girl, get up! Get up! He would deem it bitch shit. Maybe it was a long time coming, but this was the straw that broke the camel's back. I literally said that earlier. I was tired of having to always deal with his attitude and disrespect and was also maybe on this girl power high, so I told him it was over. The complicated part is this. He lived with me. He has been in between serving jobs, and since he was my freaking boyfriend, I let him move in with me 6 months ago. Living with him is a whole other story, but I couldn't take it anymore and had him leave my apartment the next day. I stayed at my friend's house while he packed up his stuff. He said he understood and that he didn't want to live with me another second anyways. Oh, someone's feelings were so hurt. He's literally crying and being like, I didn't want to live with you anyway. You know, because like, your perfume, it makes the bathroom smell really good and I hate it. The smell of roses. I assumed he had a place to go, but apparently he didn't. His brother called me a few hours ago saying he's MIA. Oh God. His friends are blowing up my phone saying the same thing. I feel like this is all my fault. No, it's not. No one has heard from him in 24 hours. I did think it was weird when I came home and all the food in the fridge was gone. All the batteries in our electronic drawers were gone. He took my phone charger and half the blankets. I know now he did not in fact have anywhere to go or a car. He had been using mine since his engine busted last month. The worst part is we still have his location and it's saying he is 2 states away. I don't know how he got there. I can't believe this is all because of the freaking Barbie movie. And there's an edit. I'm scared to read it. First off, you guys are grown adults. So if he goes MIA, that is not your fault. And it also sounds like if you have like his brother calling, friends calling, it kind of sounds like he possibly had a place to stay. If anything, it almost sounds like he's just so embarrassed over what happened that he just doesn't know how to handle it. But to go 2 states over? Like, what are you doing 2 states away? And honestly, it's so funny now that I think about it. The whole like, because I think I've heard people being like, I'm not even gonna bother with my boyfriend with the Barbie movie because I don't want to hear what they have to say. And maybe I'm just built different because if I'm with a guy and he's like, oh, feminist bullshit with that movie, I'm gone. That's a huge red flag to me. So honestly, like on a first date, I'm gonna bring up the Barbie movie. I'm gonna be like, where were you July 23rd? Because again, I totally get if it's like you watched it and you're like, oh, the humor wasn't for me, I didn't like the pacing, this, that, whatever. We're welcoming to critiques, but if you're just like feminist bullshit, No. I get it. It's like a very entry level of feminism too. But obviously for some people, they need it. Anyway, let's read this edit. Oh my God, it's so long. Okay, I'm a little embarrassed, but in light of everything I've learned over the past over 24 hours, I'm once again oversharing on Reddit. Before anything else, I wrote that post in a frenzy of panic and guilt. With a clearer head, I can recognize that yes, we broke up because we were incompatible and I was at my limit, not because of a movie. Some people were saying I may needed the Barbie movie more than he did since I was clearly dating a bigot, and to that I agree. I was convinced I loved him, but I think I just didn't really understand my value, feel deserving of someone better. I've learned my lesson, and as a woman of color, oh shit, that just brings in a whole other ballgame. Will never let myself be treated like that again. My biggest regret is that my loved ones had to endure him as well. That's always the embarrassing part, where it's like, God, they know I put up with the worst shit ever. Well, I've been cheated on before, but I usually find out and then we break up. Since I found out about my ex's cheating after I broke up with him, I'm not exactly torn up about it. I feel like I skipped the questioning and sadness and went straight to the over it. Good for you. But the way I found out was actually kind of funny. His brother has been keeping me semi-updated on the missing Ken situation. That's funny. But I haven't really been asking any questions other than how he and his family are doing. They're not mad at me as they are aware of the situation. His brother even thanked me for taking care of him for as long as I did. God, girl. Like, giving me hiccups over here. I can't even digest this. He's texted me this morning around 9 saying we don't need to worry anymore because he's at their cousin's house in Colorado Springs. Then, around 12 in the afternoon, I got multiple calls from a friend of his saying that he heard from my ex. This friend sucks so much, I'm not even gonna get into it. I supremely regret giving him my number. He was obviously under the influence of some sort, not to judge, but it's literally 12 p.m. Literally, job? Have you heard of it? And he's telling me stuff like he is literally so much happier now that you let him go, and he just felt bad for me and that I was charity work. Oh, these people got really hurt feelings and they don't know how to communicate it. That's sad. And then he said, now he can be with his main for real. I asked him to clarify and he gave me that oh shit laughing guy thing they do when they say something they weren't supposed to. Then he said F me and hung up. The potentially craziest part is that he is definitely at his cousin's house. His brother confirmed. Oh, that's true, I didn't think of that. So could he be lying? I think I'm going crazy because I've seen his cousin on his Insta feed before and she's literally stunning. Huh? He said she's his second cousin. And I don't really know how related they are. If this is real, I can't even comprehend what this means. Maybe it's not real, I don't know, but I think it's the perfect ending to this story. In the spirit of Barbie, she can have it, I guess. And yes, I know I said Ryan Reynolds when it was Ryan Gosling, and that one comment said, facial blindness is real. That's all. So he's a terrible person. He's a bigot, misogynist, a thief, and his cousin. Girl, you dodged a bullet. I was her, I would be buying the Barbie poster, hanging it up in my house, and kneeling down in front of it every day and praying to it, being like, you saved me. Maybe God's not real, but Barbie is. What do you mean he's possibly f***ing his cousin? What in the sweet home Alabama? We gotta move on. Am I the asshole for shutting down my son and his friend's movie? The title sounds odd, but allow me to explain. I, 41-year-old female, have 3 boys. The oldest is 19, second is 14, and the last is 6. I live with my husband, who is the father of the youngest, and my mother lives with us too. I recently kicked my oldest out due to drama that's irrelevant, so he no longer lives here and now is living with his father, my ex. I really hope that's gonna tie in somehow and make you look good, because right now, I'm calling CPS for the other kids. Just the way you spoke about your kids, I don't trust it. I don't like it. I've used the empty space and converted it into a playroom for my youngest since he loves it. My second oldest, named Nick, wants to be a filmmaker for a living and has been taking film class online. Nick brings his friends over, who my ex and I are really close with his family. My ex and his father work at the same office, they're detectives, and me and him would go to dinner with them once in a while. Nick and his friends share the same dream and they make their movies with Nick's Godzilla's toys. That's really cute. Nick puts effort into his films with editing, film angles, etc., and they get quite a lot of attention on YouTube. Oh my god, drop the channel. Like, I want to see. They have a little setup in the basement. Nick was the one that transformed the empty space into his own little workstation. This morning, my friend came over and went to the basement with Nick to film. They were going to do a recreation of Godzilla's Revenge. He has all the equipment, sets, and toys for it. The youngest wants to be involved with what they're doing, and I told them to take him with them. Nick declined, saying that friend has to go to his grandma soon in 2 hours and he'll be miles away and that they want to finish the difficult scenes before he goes. I told him that it wasn't a question and that he either takes him with him or I'm shutting them down. Nick backtalked to me saying that friend didn't come over to babysit and that he's got expensive equipment in the room and that he didn't want the youngest to ruin the sets. I ignored what he said and told him that I'm shutting him down since those weren't valid excuses to exclude his brother. Nick told friend to leave and that they'll do this another time. I then told Nick that now friend is gone, he can teach the youngest how he works. I didn't know, is she Donald Trump? She work at The Apprentice? Nick refused, saying that not after what I pulled. I told him that it's his responsibility to care for his brother. As an older sibling, it is not the oldest sibling's job to take care of the kids. I'm gonna stop you right there. I told him that it's his responsibility to care for his brother and he said he does. Parentheses bullshit, but for filming, he wants peace and not having the fear of something getting screwed up. I had enough. I took his phone away and his MacBook so he couldn't edit for a week because of the disrespect towards me and his brother. When I alerted my ex of the punishment, he was against me. Good. He told me that the boys aren't free childcare and that I need to give him his stuff back. I left him on red because I was shocked at his response. Free childcare is besides the point, and I doubt a 6-year-old can ruin a movie. Girl, you take your eyes off of a little one for 2 seconds and the house is falling apart. My mom, husband, and a few friends think I'm in the wrong. Am I the asshole? Yeah. Edit 2. Okay guys, I get it. I'm an ass. I'll give my son his equipment back. Please stop replying. I think 10 is more than enough for me to understand. Edit 3. Stop. You guys aren't listening to my previous edit. I'm putting my phone on silent, so if you don't get a reply back from me, that's why. Girl, it's called shut off your phone. If it's bothering you that much, don't come and check. It's bothering you because people are flat out telling you you're a terrible parent. Edit 4. I gave my kid his electronics back and apologized, but he refused to accept it. Good for him. I was tempted to take it away again, but let it go. So your apology was bullshit. Got it. Thank you to those who called me a horrible mother, although I provide my child all the equipment he needed. I think you guys were being a little bit petty when someone gave me the award and downvote everything I say when I answer a basic question. You guys can actually stop now calling me the asshole. Edit 5. This girl does not know when to quit. Stop accusing me of favoritism. I love all my boys equally. The reasons I kicked my 19-year-old out is because he keeps disobeying my rules. Well, here's the thing, hon. All you're doing here by being a good mother and providing them with what they need is giving them a reason to get the hell out as soon as they turn 18. Honestly, this mom is a piece of work. This is sad. And hearing stories like this, it makes me appreciate my mom, not my dad. He left. No one asked. That's crazy. And I mean, don't get me wrong, when you are an older sibling, you kind of naturally take over like a parent role. And it definitely creates like a different dynamic. But I don't know, if you're just looking at your 14-year-old who is doing something they're very passionate about, has super expensive equipment, and a 6-year-old who are physically, mentally, in completely 2 different states of mind, and you're looking at the 14-year-old like, just include him. You shouldn't have kids. But anyway, that's all the stories I have prepared for you guys today. I know this video probably was a longer video, but I hope it was fun. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to do something like this again, let me know in the comments. And yeah, if you find any stories, maybe send them. I have a Twitter page that helps me with like requests and stuff like that. Maybe they'll look through them, find some. We'll just make it a fun time. If you disagree with any of my takes, let me know in the comments down below. Just don't hurt my feelings. But I love you a lot, and I will see you in the next video, whatever that may look like. Thank you for sticking with me, and I will see you in the next